Is it going?
It's going now, yeah.
It's going.
Hi guys. Okay. So everyone's been asking for a YouTube video on what's going on at the railroad, and I'm sorry that this is what you're getting, but this is what you're all getting. Today is Saturday. The fire started Wednesday afternoon or night. For those of you that don't know, the largest bridge on our line went up in flames and is it's still burning and still collapsing. So I'm sorry, I'm really tired. I haven't slept much. I haven't showered. I haven't had real food yet. And my brain is a little bit scattered. So bear with me a little bit. And I'm probably not even going to edit this. I'm probably just going to upload it and add some photos and videos. Tuesday, so Mount Rainier Scenic Railroad is owned by Western Forest Industries Museum, a 501c3 nonprofit. The railroad was, originally sort of founded as a volunteer operation in the 80s. It was owned by American Heritage Railways out of Durango, same folks as the Durango and Silverton Great Smoky Mountain Railroad. For a while, I think 2015 to 2022. Our group took over the railroad in late September 2022. The railroad had shut down for a period of time. We took it over. We refounded the original nonprofit and reacquired ownership. It was a bunch of former employees and local business folks. So there's other videos that sort of cover that. Probably, I think the first one on our channel does. So that's sort of the organization. The railroad itself has been owned by Tacoma Rail for years, and we've had a 40-plus year lease on it, and we've been working on buying it. And we've been working on buying it. I've been working on buying it first for the organization since 2018, and we really sort of and re-intensified that work in 2022, and we've been working really, really hard at it. It's been a complicated process. There's a buyout option in our lease. I smell like smoke. But it's been a complicated process because Tacoma received some federal grants, federal money for the railroad. So there have been grant obligations and things like that we need to work through. So we finally have finalized the sale. The mayor signed the paperwork Tuesday, put it in the mail Wednesday. Wednesday evening, I was out with Rowdy, Adam, and Chris having dinner in Morton, just sort of celebrating. And we, on the local community Facebook page, we saw some reports that there was a fire. Rowdy saw it driving down to Morton and sort of didn't say anything at first, and then was like, that's black smoke. For those of you on the West Coast, you know that wildfires are usually white smoke. Black means something's burning. The only thing in that area is the railroad bridge. I called the non-emergency line for the county to try and get some more info to see if it was our bridge that was burning. They weren't sure yet. So we finished up dinner really quick, and Adam and Chris sort of hung out for a while in town to sort of try and gather what was going on. Rowdy and I drove to the site. It's really, really, really remote. So we're ways back. We encountered one of the volunteers from the local fire department, and they weren't even sure what it was yet. We hung out there for a while and then heard on the radio that it was a bridge. There's a bridge right before this. We were really hoping it was a small one, not the big one. but it was the big one. So we heard over the radio that at least 200 feet of the structure were burning, and then we knew it was the big bridge. So we were up pretty late Wednesday, but it was dark, and crews were still trying to figure out how to get back there. It's remote. The footage will show you that. There's no easy way to get to this thing. And then about 2 or 3 in the morning, my phone started ringing a lot. And, we sort of learned what was going on. We didn't have photos. We weren't on site at that time. We'd all gone back to our respective domiciles. I was staying in my RV on site in Mineral because I knew that things were happening. So about 2, 3 in the morning, my phone started ringing. That the situation was pretty darn bad. So I put a post up on Facebook that probably most of you saw. And we didn't even, I didn't have track maps, so we were just trying to sort of remember things off the cuff. The actual stats on the bridge are that it's 26 spans and it's 396.8 feet long. It's a 12% curve and a 1.9% grade for those of you rail fans that want to know. It's an engineering marvel. It was rebuilt about 20 years ago, and it was in near mint condition. So I spent most of Thursday sitting on a hill with our new roadmaster, who's only been on payroll for about 2 weeks, the poor guy, watching the thing burn. And, the Department of Natural Resources is on the site, great group of guys. Some folks on work release from the prison. They did a really Herculean job. Most of the early efforts were trying to construct a fire perimeter because we were really worried this thing was going to spread. And helicopters, bringing in water and dumping water on it, but it's just such a huge fire that just wasn't touched it. Because of the curve, because of the height of the trestle, the curve of it, the fact it's sort of on slope ground, we were really, really worried that this thing was going to collapse and it was going to collapse over on its side. So that was an active conversation that we were having with DNR. They're used to forest fires, not structures. So we made sure we had railroad personnel there that try and advise and just sort of keep an eye on things as best we could. And I'm sorry, it's all blending together a bit. Thursday, a lot of it was still intact. I think by Thursday afternoon, portions of it had started to collapse. At that point, we knew that there's no salvaging this thing, and the best case scenario was that the whole thing collapses and that it collapses inward. It's going to be, there's still some, last I was out there was probably 6 hours ago. There's still some suspended rail in the air, but there's more and more bridge coming down, but it's going to be a tremendously difficult site to work on. So the more of it that is destroyed, quite frankly, the safer and better cleanup is going to be. It started collapsing Thursday. There's one video out there where you hear some cheering at the end of it. And that was the DNR folks and the railroad crew, and there was absolutely nothing malicious about that. There was cheering because it collapsed inward. We've been worried for 12, 14, 15 hours that this thing was going to fall on its side and start a much larger fire. We were really, really grateful that no one was hurt when it collapsed. Anyway, I wanted to address that. Absolutely nothing malicious about it, but a heck of a lot of relief that the situation didn't just get a heck of a lot worse. When it started to collapse, of course, that made a big pile of more burning timbers at the bottom of it, so that intensified things and the wind picked up a bit. So Thursday, we've received hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of messages and comments and phone calls. We did our best. I did my best to sort of manage the media situation and give interviews, but even personally, I've got so many voicemails and text messages that I haven't responded to. We will. We're working on it. Please be patient with us. I'm going to try to address the most frequently asked questions in this video. Trying to think. Friday, sort of, it's continued the burn. It's Saturday now. This morning, a little bit more of it collapsed. Wind picked up for a bit, so, but at least it's a little bit wet and sprinkly out. Sorry, I was just looking outside to see what it was doing. This thing is going to be on fire for days. And we had trains to run today, because we're so thankful that it wasn't on our active railroad, so we can stay in business with what we're doing. So in terms of sort of the frequently asked questions, why did this bridge matter if we weren't actively running trains on it? Since we've taken over the railroad, we've been working on restoring more track, getting more back in service. We've been talking to the mills in Morton, and we've been working really hard to establish a short line railroad, which none of this is public yet, so heck of a way to tell y'all. But to establish a short line railroad that would be able to carry freight. We were working on a CRISI grant application, which is a federal funding application. There's a cost benefit analysis sort of that goes along with it in terms of the infrastructure project and the car loads, taking trucks off the road, all of those things. Why are we interested in that? One, business. Sure. Anything that we are a nonprofit, but any way we can diversify our ability to earn income, protects our organization and makes us that much more sustainable. Other reasons to do that, so that we are eligible so the crews are eligible for railroad retirement. I've got the most dedicated crew, and they're all young. Railroad retirement is a good deal, and I believe that if we're paying them a good fair wage and they have railroad retirement here, that it's not the done thing in the year of our Lord 2025, but I want these guys to be here for decades, and we want to provide a work environment where they want to be here, that they feel valued, and that they're taken care of in a way that they can take care of themselves and their families. So railroad retirement was going to be a big deal personally for our crew. The tourist impact of a train in Morton, I believe Morton is very interesting. The downtown is still intact. There's a railroad depot at the end of town, and you can walk into Main Street and shop in shops and eat in restaurants. And I think that would have been an awesome day excursion that, be able to bring 150, 200 people in town, drop them off for them to shop and eat. And that would have been an awesome economic impact on the town. And all of this could be done without increasing sort of the infrastructure demand. So we're not tearing apart roads, we're not creating parking issues and all of those things. So I think in terms of a town that needs an economic boost, that would have been real good. Obviously, we're still working on track expansion to Eatonville. The way the railroad works, and I'll try and put a map up, is Eatonville, LB, Mineral, then from there, East Creek Junction, that's where our RailCycles are going to be. Divide, the bridge, and then Mineral. And I'll try and get a map up, but the editing on this is going to be real quick and dirty. We're not done. We're still working on it all. The cost benefit of this whole thing, we knew that the bridges were good on the way to Morton. Bridges are really expensive, so unfortunately probably the cost to rebuild the railroad might have just doubled. We don't know yet, but it's a just kick in the teeth. In terms of frequently asked questions, I think that's why it mattered. I'm not the most articulate right now. We'll probably work on getting something into writing as to why this mattered, but that's the nutshell of it. Yes, we still have plans for expansion past LB. We have 5,000 ties sitting in our yard, and we're going to work on getting those suckers in the line to Eatonville. If we have any ability to transload product in Mineral and then bring it to Eatonville, that's still an option that we want to pursue. That sort of helps us build business slowly and sustainably while we work on expansion past Mineral down to Morton. have been a lot of questions about the size of the bridge. I answered that. 26 spans, 396.8 feet, 12-degree curve, 1.95% grade, and about 100 feet tall. I'm not quite sure. We just got the plans from Tacoma Rail. We appreciate those guys sending them. I'm not sure what all those specs are. Who would do this? That's the other question. DNR and Lewis County Sheriff, I believe, have both determined that human cause is a factor. Bridges don't spontaneously combust, and this is a really, really remote area. It's hard to get to. It's nasty to get to. Apologies for the noise. The train's coming in now. So we know that it was human cause. Whether that is someone doing a lot of bushwhacking and hiking and not putting out a campfire, that could be, or it could be someone with malicious intent. There is an active investigation going, so I'm not going to share more details. I think folks that have been following know that there have been threats made against the railroad. Someone threatening to blow up a locomotive that's been on the property. We've had a few threats in writing and via email, but I don't want to say too much there and make the work of investigators worse, but if anyone knows something, please say something. Sorry, it's getting loud around here. Our excursions are still going, so please come out and ride the train. RailCycle, we were supposed to get tickets on sale this week, but I've been distracted. Sorry, the train's here. So I haven't been able to do that yet, but RailCycle is going to be running at an East Creek Junction to Divide, which is sort of a few miles away from where the bridge is, but it's so pretty. And obviously we've got a newly expanded railroad route between LB and New Orleans. And LB and Mineral. So, a lot of folks are asking what they can do. We need money. We don't think insurance. We don't think insurance is going to cover it for a few reasons. A lot of time insurance doesn't cover fires. We hadn't yet transitioned our insurance from a lessee to an owner because of the timing of this all. A lot of times arson isn't covered. This could be considered an act of terrorism, and quite frankly, the limits on our insurance policy aren't going to touch it. So, we are not going to crowdfund the cost of the replacement. I don't think that's being negative, but what we can do is we can come up with the money for mitigation, and what that means is safely making the work site safe and accessible in engineering, right? So that we know how much this is going to cost and what the best path forward is. That's what we're hoping to raise money for. And right now, that dollar figure is probably enough to bankrupt the organization and the progress we've made. So the public support has been incredible, and we are so appreciative. I know that I haven't cried yet. It's probably coming tonight. I think most of the crews have, but it's been for two reasons. One, we're really sad and angry, but the second is people have been really nice to us, and I can't tell you how much that means. There are folks who have given decades to this, decades and all of the money they had, and this is just, it's senseless. And it's just, we were hoping to be running trains on that bridge next year. So this is just a gut punch. A lot of folks are asking how the heck we're going to rebuild it. We don't know. It was a beautiful wood trestle, and it was just going to be a world-class view and site. We don't know whether it will be rebuilt in kind, if we can find the money to rebuild it. We don't know if it's going to be metal. We don't know what that looks like yet. We can make guesses, but that would be it. So that's one of the common questions, what's it going to look like to rebuild? The time frame to reopen the line to Morton. We were hoping it was going to be like 2 years out, especially if we were able to get some Chrissy funds on this. I don't know anymore. We just don't know. It's too soon to tell. I've been spending most of my days sort of alternating between giving interviews and sitting on the side of a hill watching a bridge burn and trying to make sure it was done and that it was burning and collapsing in the safest way possible. Sort of trying to protect my crews from watching this thing go up in smoke too. They've been working on the 5. We're running trains this weekend. We had a couple get engaged on the train this morning. Nate, our high school senior, who's 18, this is his first full day firing on his own. Jackson was just signed off as a conductor, so we've got a new train crew of kids that are all under like 25, which is, they are the future of this place. And I'm grateful for them. I hope they all know that. But I think the future is still bright, even though it doesn't feel like it right now. How can you help? So money. Anything you have at this point, because any money you have means that we're not trying to cover it out of the very little money we do have in our personal checkbooks, and none of us are going to be able to touch that. I would encourage you to write elected officials in Washington State. So that's probably Cantwell, Barkas, Murray, and Glusenkamp Perez. And just encourage them, say that, hey, this thing has serious economic impact. It's got historical value. It's something that we care about, whether we're a resident or whether we're a visitor. That, this little piece of infrastructure is sort of a lifeline for the towns. So write them, please, and encourage them to help us find federal funding solutions. Hey, Eric, I'm just filming. You can come say hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Do you want this? Or
Yes,
okay.
please. Thank
Okay.
you. Folks, one of our volunteers passed away. I don't even know if he was 30 yet. And they did a GoFundMe to help workplace or funeral expenses. It was a workplace accident. They did a GoFundMe to help raise funeral expenses, and his family just donated the remainder of the GoFundMe to help us. So, thank you to Caleb's family. But yeah, write elected officials, and then, come tell people, bring people out for a train ride. That's so stinking helpful. Get them out on the line.
I will step in and say, definitely bring them out. It is really the best way to see what we do here and know what any donations are going towards.
Eric can only make money on shop cats for so long, folks. He's
Pretty
got
true.
He's got to sell train rides too.
I'll see ya.
Thank you for everything. Get some rest and have a good drink. I have the best staff. And I hope that I am a good leader for them. I think that's all I got for now, folks. Thank you for the support. I'm not a crier, but apparently I'm a crier today, so thank you. I'm going to try and attach some videos and maps of what's going on this. We appreciate y'all. If you have more questions, drop them in the comments, and we might try and do a live stream later this week. Our regular YouTube episode with sort of a recap of Easter and events and RailCycle, I think, is still going to go up Monday because that's done, that's edited. But thank you all for the support. Thank you. Appreciate you. Bye.